Hey everyone, it's Wendy Hutchinson with Alinea Life Coaching, and this is my August 2025 newsletter. This month has been all about finding peace in the chaos. That was the theme of the newsletter this month, and I wanted to talk about that because there's so much internal change happening within you, within each individual on planet right now. There are tremendous emotional things being churned up to be released. There is a lot of physical and energetic change happening in your light bodies, in your biology and energy fields. And this can really impact your life in a very tangible way. You may be feeling incredible fatigue, the need maybe for silence to process emotions or feelings that are coming up for you, or even a lot of self-awareness, right? People are raising their frequencies right now to align with the energies of the planet, which are also raising in a very amplified and accelerated way. And we have to pace it, right? We live here on Earth. So as she is going through these massive energetic changes and impacting the physicality of our world, we also have to we have to align, we have to be in resonance, right? To live comfortably here. So what is being asked of humanity really is to, well, what I'm witnessing, I will say, is people are being challenged to really confront their deepest fears. And I mean fears about finances, fears about abandonment, fears and traumas around, maybe unhealthy patterns that you've been involved in that you need to stop. But the blowback from that is going to be so intense. There are fears about how you're going to handle that or how you're going to move forward if you leave that long-term relationship. And it could be a business partnership. I'm not just talking about romantic partnerships, right? I'm talking about relationships of all kinds where maybe, and I'm just going to use myself an example. I know for a long time before I did a lot of my healing, I was very codependent. So I was always in service at my expense. And what that did was create a lot of codependency in my relationships because I sought out people who wanted and needed me to always show up for them at my expense. So there was a lot of one-way energy going out, but no reciprocation coming back in. So that was a very unhealthy dynamic I had to confront. And as I healed myself, I started to extricate myself from relationships like that. And they were painful, because a lot of them were very long-term relationships and friendships and partnerships. And what I realized is as we heal and we become a threat and a mirror for the people in front of us. And once we start to boundary up and there's all this chaos, right? There's all this chaos because people push back and they're emotionally triggered, and we're seeing that in our external world right now, as we are navigating forward. So it's really important to hold on to your energy and bring it in. Come into that center column of your being. Anchor in your light. Bring your power and energy back to you. Create space for silence and inner peace and reflection. Because in the silence is when the answers come. If you're heightened and amplified and reactive, all you're doing is pouring gasoline on the fire. You're contributing to the chaos. If all you're doing is watching news that is triggering you emotionally day after day after day, you're just programming that into your consciousness, into your energy, into your awareness, and every fiber of your being is in this fight and fight energy, resistance, a lack of compassion, tolerance, acceptance of what your role is and your potential to impact the outcomes around all of it is, that's not really serving you. And it's a choice, if that lights you up, keep going. But this is really about finding neutrality and peace in the chaos, right? Which means being very mindful of where you're putting your attention. And also be really mindful as you assimilate information and take it in as to verifying with yourself, is this even true? Because I find so much information coming from the outside in is filled with half truths or absolute, almost lies by omission, I would say. So maybe somebody is speaking to you and they're sharing a little nugget or piece of the story that kind of fits their narrative, but there's this entire thread that they fail to mention. And in that way, they're kind of manipulating your emotions, right? So you might be getting just a little bit of the truth, and then what's omitted is the full story around it. So people can tend to paint a picture that's not accurate. And we need to be really, really discerning when we're taking information in to sit with it and go, I have a pretty good bullshit meter. So I'll sit with it and feel like, how do I feel about that? Because if something feels off, it's off. I don't care what the person is saying in front of me. If I have a gut feeling and it feels off, I need to respond from my knowing. It doesn't matter what anyone is saying because the energy of it feels off. So really flex that discernment muscle when you're talking to people or taking in information. Be really mindful of what you're attaching to. If you're going to do anything, you should be bringing everything back in right now and not projecting out and attaching out. So kind of take an inventory of where you are in your life. Who is siphoning your energy and not pouring back in? It could be your mother. I'm just saying, it could be a relative that's been doing this your whole life. It's our responsibility to find peace in the chaos by withdrawing and having boundaries with people who are unhealthy for us. And they come in every way, shape, and form, right? It could be your boss, it could be toxic coworkers, it could be your environment at home, it could be, we really need to take an inventory and figure out what is supporting us. Because when we're pouring in, when we are nurturing our soul, when we are nurturing our truth, when we are placing ourselves in environments that support our growth, instead of pouring Roundup on us all the time, causing us to have limited beliefs, causing us to doubt ourselves, causing us to play small because we don't want to rock the boat. Pay attention to that. And if you need help with that, reach out, have a session with me. I do a lot of energy work with clients to help them remove obstacles, blocks, energetic things from lifetimes ago that you're still carrying and aren't even aware of. So that's basically it for this month. I just want you to be really intentional about what you're exposing yourself to. Pay attention to how you feel when you take information in, discernment, right? Honor and nurture yourselves because you might need more sleep. You might notice your diet needs to change. Follow your intuition. It's going to change from day to day, but just follow your intuition and trust it because your soul knows. Your soul knows you. You know you more than anyone else out there. So be really, really careful about, and mindful, I guess I want to say, about just bringing peace back into your life and having the courage to make those changes. I know you've got it. So, wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for listening and watching my August 2025 newsletter. You can subscribe to future newsletters on my website, which is alinealifecoaching.com. It's ALINEA lifecoaching.com. Click subscribe down there. Please click subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. I'd love to grow my following, not for commercial purposes, but I just would like to reach more people with my messages and offer support to you all. All right, you guys, have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.